Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about tracking employee tips. So, I know that a lot of salon owners and barbershop owners have these fancy booking sites and POS systems where they will automatically track tips that go to your employees. And so, that unfortunately is not going to work when it comes to the audit in the event that the IRS wants to track how you have been keeping track of your tips. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If this is your first time here, my name is Jennifer Drew. I am the founder and CEO of Hair CEO. We are advisory, bookkeeping, and tax firm helping self-employed hair professionals and hair business owners. And currently I'm in a 90-day series called 2026 Tax Talk, where I'm just going over different topics related to taxes, especially this year because there are so many changes with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And so I'm here as we go through the filing season just to answer any questions and pull out topics that I think are applicable to this industry. So, like I mentioned in a few other videos, if you haven't seen, I have talked about this new tip credit that is applicable to, salon owners, barbershop owners who pay out tips to their employees. And then also you as someone, let's say you don't have employees, but you are self-employed, you have a booth or you have a suite, or maybe you're in a storefront just by yourself, this applies to you as well. So you can absolutely take advantage of this tip credit. And you can see other videos where I've talked about how this works. But today we're going to be talking about what you're required to do in the form of recording these tips. Now, if you are with me live right now, type tips in the comments. And I just want to thank you guys for showing up live. And of course, I love my folks who catch me on the replay. I know we have quite a few of you who catch the replays. And I'm just really excited to be doing this live series. I mean, we are on day 49, I believe, which is crazy. And I'm excited to get through the entire series. So these have been like stretching me and exercising a muscle that I didn't even realize I had because I really do want to do more on YouTube for 2026. So these lives have really been helping me. And if at any time you have a topic that you want me to touch on, definitely leave it in the comments or reach out to me via email. All right, so let's dive into this tracking because if you have employees, this is mostly for people who have employees though, because if you're yourself, you can definitely look at this video, but it's less important because you are the person and you are, signing off pretty much on your own taxes. But if you have employees, it's not enough just to say, oh, this is my POS system. This is how much so and so got paid in tips. Because technically, the IRS actually requires additional items. And so I want you to be prepared in the event of an audit. Now, this is where it becomes important. But I feel like that's always the case when it comes to the IRS. Like, yeah, you're fine until you're not fine. And so you always want to make sure that you are protecting yourself. And even now, because of this new tax credit, we're looking at ways in which we can help our clients with this new standardizing a process on our end so that our clients are protected in the event that they are, asked for more for additional information when it comes to these tips. So let's go over what is actually required. Because like I said, your Square app, your Vagaro, your Gloss Genius, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. It may not be enough because I'm not the IRS. But according to what I've read with the IRS, they're very strict about these tips and how they need to be recorded and kept for 4 years. So let's talk through these 5 things. First thing is that you need to have an itemized list of tip types. So there are 3 tip types. So the first one is going to be the cash total. This is how much your stylists or your barbers have received directly from the clients. So you're going to want to make sure that, that they report to you that this is how much they received. It never even hit your hands. Maybe it never even hit your register, but you want to account for it. And so that is this first one. Then we have credit card tips. So this is something where, of course, this is the easiest one to track because it's going to be on the POS system. This is what that POS system is tracking, is the credit card tips. And a lot of times they'll even spit out who the tip was for. Or you can go back and look at the service to see whose client that was. And pretty simple, right? That's the credit card total. Then we have tips paid out. So the tips paid out might confuse you because you might be like, well, I paid out the credit card tips. So wouldn't that be considered the tips that paid out? No, you do not want to double count these types of tips. So the tips paid out would actually be, as an example, let's say someone pays you at the register, and let's say the service is, $50. I'm sorry, let's say the service is $40. And the person says, I don't need any change back. I want that $10 to go to the service provider, to the barber or the hairstylist. Well, then that would be considered a tip that you paid out. So you see how it is cash, but it never hit the credit card and they didn't give it directly to the stylist or the barber. So this is a part of the tips that were paid out. So really important that you understand that differentiation of the type of tips. So once you have all three of these fill out, then you need a line where you count, where you add up all these tips to get the total tip. And once you get the total tip, you're making sure that everything is accounted for. So that is the fourth thing. Now, the fifth thing, very important, you want to make sure that you have the date and the signature, not your signature, but the employee's signature, the person who received the tips. Now, this is not something that you do annually. You're going to hate this. This is something that's required monthly by the 10th of every month. So what that means is that you need to create some type of system inside of your salon where you can have them fill this out. Now, I know you might be thinking like, this is just another thing that I have to do. This is insane. I know, but remember, we had a big win this year. Well, last year, starting for 2025 filing season, we get the tip deduction, the tip credit. So, yes, it's some extra work, but it's going to pay off. And this is going to make sure that you don't get any pushback from any employees when you supply that W-2 at the end of the year, right? Or at the beginning of the year for the prior year that says they made X amount of dollars in tips. Because guess what? They signed off on it every single month. It's required by the IRS. Now you might be like, well, Jennifer, I have never heard of this before. Where are you pulling this out of? I promise you. It is, and I wrote it down because of course these sections of the IRS code. This is section regulation 31.6053-1. And if that wasn't a mouthful, I do want to share with you a template that the IRS provides because they want this stuff every month. So if they're like, yeah, we want this every month, you're like, hey, you don't have to come up with a template. We'll give you a form that you can use. So let me show you this form that you can get directly off of the IRS website. Check this out. So let me zoom out a little bit so you can actually see what's going on. All right, so you see this. This is form 4070. Look at this, employees report of tips to employer. So this is something that the employees have to give the employer every month. Now, Look at the items here. We have the employee's name and the address of here, the employees, the employer's name and address, and then you have the month, the period the tips were received. So you want to go, so if this is for January, you would say January 1 to January 31st, 2020, whatever. Okay, so that's the information you have up front or on the side, the main information, and then you have social security number of the employee. Now remember, this is not something that you're asking for the first time. Now, I actually do not like this template because I don't like templates that have a lot of PII, private personal information. I don't know if that's what PII stands for. I think it is, but it's private information. I would not have this as a template. Actually going to leave a link to the template that I have that my clients are going to be using moving forward. But just too much PII, and I don't like loose paper being around in the salon or people, giving me stuff with so much PII on it. So this template though, this form has the social security number, and then look, these are the three types of tips that I mentioned. Cash tips received. And remember, this is something that the employee is filling out, not you as the employer. So you want this system to be something that they give you every month. So they're going to say, yep, I received X amount in tips. You didn't even know about it because, my client gave me these tips directly. And then you have credit and debit card tips received. This could be tips that are from the POS system. Then they have tips paid out. Remember, this will be the tips that they received from you. Maybe you have a system where you pay out tips at the end of every shift or whatever. That will go in this line 3. And then line 4, you have net tips. So these are lines 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2, and minus 3. So the tips paid out. So that would be 1, 2, and then take away 3. So I actually made a mistake here. So the tips paid out would be included in 1 or 2, and then this would just erase it because or minus it out, because this would be something like, these are the tips that I've received, but these are the tips. I'm sorry. These are the tips that I received in case there is a discrepancy. So, and then you date and you have to sign it. So this is what the employee would actually give you every single month. Now, the IRS says it should be the 10th of every month. Now, you have to create the system because employees, they may forget. So it's going to be up to you to make sure that you are implementing something on your end to make sure that you have what you need in the event of an audit so that you're protected with your tip credit. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you are a salon owner, barbershop owner, and you want help with your taxes this filing season, I want to invite you to click the link in my description. We are working with a limited number of clients this season for 2026, for 2025 taxes. Or if you need help with a prior year, then I would definitely love to work with you. You can get in contact with me or someone from my team using the link below. And I will see you tomorrow when we tackle another topic for 2026 taxes. I will see you then.